So, hey guys, what is up? I am so excited that How to Get Away with Murder is back. Once you get in the room, please say something to me in the comments and I will shout out your name. I'm really excited to talk about this episode, and also it's pretty crazy to me that we only have 5 more episodes after this one. Like, it's really going to go by so fast, and the bad thing is, like, it's never ever coming back, so that is super duper sad. But I'm just gonna wait a little bit for some of you guys to get into the room, but I'll go ahead and start talking a little about what I thought about the episode. Honestly, I really kind of thought that the way that it was going with showing all of the last moments of Asher's life, basically, I felt like that, it seemed like we were almost going to find out who murdered him, but we didn't, which would also kind of be weird if we had, just because, there's still 5 more episodes, so we still have time to figure that out. And I'm wondering if they're going to wait till like near the end of the whole series to tell us who killed him. Also, I thought what happened with Annalise was really, really interesting. The fact that she had a chance, it looked like, to get away and start a new life in Mexico, and she refused to get in the car of the person who was like her getaway car. And then right after she refused to do that, she was arrested. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But I don't know. I'm just interested to see what you guys thought about it. I have thoughts about other stuff too. I just want to make sure that you guys can. Okay, hi Road Hill. I was getting ready to like type like, hey, can you guys hear me or see me? Because nobody's talking to me. So hi, thank you so much for being here. If anyone else is here, let me know. So I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. I mean, when I first started doing YouTube, I literally did these like live chats talking to myself. What I thought was interesting was that this show started, I believe I saw today, in 2014. And I don't think I started doing videos on it like right away. I think maybe a year passed before I started doing videos. Maybe like, I think I watched all of season 1 and I didn't do any type of YouTube, content on it. But I really think I have been doing it for 5 years. I think I started in 2015. I don't remember if you guys can remember. I should just go through my videos and look. But it's crazy like how fast that time has passed. Hi, Megan. Hi, T. Thank you guys so much for being here. But now that you guys are in the room, let me know what you thought about the episode. I don't know if it's wrong of me. I was kind of expecting a little bit more from the episode. I feel like we didn't get very much information, and there wasn't like a huge cliffhanger or anything, because we only have 6 episodes for the whole series. So I really thought there would be like some major drama or like some cliffhanger or something. I didn't think we got too much of that in this episode, so to me it was a little slow. Now, I mean, with 5 episodes left, I don't really feel like they can play around and not give us good episodes the next 5. Something I did read online is that a lot of people, or that some of us may be upset with the ending because it said for every character, like main character, it's not going to be a happy ending. And I think actually Pete Nowalk tweeted that, who is the show's creator. Hi, Alex. Hi, Alfonso. Yes, Alex is saying you really like this episode. You thought this season was underwhelming until this episode. So let's talk about some things that were revealed in the episode. I was talking about it a little bit earlier, but we're just going to go over it for those of you who are in the room. So first of all, Annalise had a chance, it appeared to me, to get away in Mexico. Now, some of my thoughts about this were, I don't know if Annalise speaks Spanish. I don't. Maybe you guys do. But I felt like she was kind of suspicious of that woman's phone call in Spanish. And it seemed like she was kind of pulling back. And like I felt like she felt maybe it was unsafe to go with this woman. So I don't know what led her to not get in the car. But I was wondering if something was said in that conversation that made her feel like she can't trust these people. So I was kind of concerned for her at that point, because I was like, is she going to get in the car? Because I'm not sure I trust what is going on here. Now, secondly, we see because she didn't get in the car, she immediately was arrested. So did she make a mistake? I don't know. Something else I want to know your thoughts about is the fact that Michaela's father, it was alluded to that perhaps he may have been the person to turn her in to get arrested in Mexico. I don't know. We don't know the background of Annalise and Michaela's dad. So there's definitely some shady stuff in their past. We don't know exactly what went down with both of them. So I don't know if he's like out for revenge or what his deal is. Now, I will say also that I feel like her dad is kind of shady. Don't really trust him. I mean, he was giving her like a lot of advice and like telling her to take the plea deal and everything. And while I want to think he's like stepping up and being a good dad. I also find him quite shady. What do you guys think? Alfonso says, you definitely expected more answers. You feel like they can't do anything until Laurel comes back. So as you guys know, I've had an ongoing issue with the Castillo family and the prevalence of them, how they're so important in this show. And, here we go again. People are talking about how Jorge is the person who basically they're thinking that's who had Asher killed. Now, personally, I do not think that the Castillos are the people behind Asher's murder. So that's something else that we need to talk about. What do you guys think? Who do you think killed Asher? I would be very upset if it's a situation where like a hitman was the person who killed him. That's just so lame, and that's just crap at this point. We're literally at the end of the show. I'm so sick of the importance of the Castillos. Megan says, you agree. We needed more. However, we did get all the characters in one episode, which is not typical. We did, except for Wes or the twin or whoever the heck that is, right? T says, you do not trust Michaela's dad, right? He seems like a very shady character. And hey, it's Hilda also thinking her dad is shady. I just felt like the whole conversation he was having with her, I think Michaela's, a good person. Obviously, she's got some skeletons in her closet. I've always liked her. She has to be super distraught that Asher is dead. But, I'm also concerned the fact that we have Connor and Michaela that took the plea deal, which means they're going to testify against Annalise once she gets back to the U.S. And the FBI seemed like super excited that the both of them accepted that plea deal. And I'm kind of concerned. I know they did it because they only wanted to spend like 5 years in jail. But I feel like they were kind of tricked. And I feel like the fact that her dad was like encouraging her, like, you got to take this, I'm not so sure that was the best idea or that was like the best advice. So Hilda says, you'll be disappointed if it's Bonnie or Frank who killed Asher. So I felt like this episode was also trying to get us to think that perhaps Frank killed Asher. Now, because it was leading us in that way, I think it won't be him, because I definitely think they were trying to drop some hints that maybe he was the one who did it, since, he's a hitman. We know that. But I'm kind of thinking that he didn't. And the fact that they were, like, anytime they try to lead us down a path on this show, we know that's not the way it's going to go. Alex said, you love Connor's parents' presence in this episode. Laurel is coming back for 2 more episodes, I think. So, yes, I did too. And basically, we have to have Laurel coming back to end out the show. I think that's a no-brainer. Like, we definitely need her. She was a huge part of the show for so long. I still don't really understand why she went away for so long. I think people were telling me that she had like other projects she was working on or something, or maybe that was actually what the show wanted to do with her. I don't know. I found it weird. At the same time, I find her annoying and I find her storyline annoying. So like, I do think she needs to come back though for the final episodes, Megan says, what do you think, if anything, that Frank found in Asher's bathroom? So we found out that there's a hidden compartment in Asher's bathroom, which is making Asher look really suspicious, which he was, because he was an informant for the FBI. I found it like super, super obvious that when he was having the conversation with Frank, it was so obvious he was trying to lead him to say things that would incriminate himself and others. And thankfully, he knew not to say anything that would, lead to his arrest. Alex definitely thinks that Frank is a misdirect. But again, the question is, what is in that floor panel? What is in that secret panel? I don't know. I would love to know what that was. I definitely think we will find out. What do you guys think? I think that's a really good question. I think another question we need to bring up is about Gabriel. Can we trust him? He seemed a little shady in this episode. Why did he accept that check? Now, we see him later looking at that check, which means he didn't cash the check, I guess. He didn't put it in his bank account. So maybe he just took it but didn't deposit it. I don't know. He always has had like a mystery around him, kind of like a shady vibe. I've never been able to totally trust him. So could he be behind Asher's murder? What do you guys think about that? Also interesting is that we kind of knew this was coming, but we know that the FBI basically has come full circle and they pretty much know every crime that the Keating, maybe it's Keating 5 now if Wes is alive, I don't know. They pretty much know every crime these people have been involved in, so they've got them like on everything. Another interesting part of this is that Annalise never killed anyone herself, so I'm not sure where they're going to go with this. Are they going to take her down for everything, even though other people were the actual murderers? That should be interesting. Hilda says you think she wanted to spend more time with her daughter in real life. We're talking about Laurel here. Laurel, the actress, the actress who plays Laurel. Apparently she was pregnant in real life at the time. So that's interesting. So that makes sense. I think that it was okay without her, or it's been okay without her for a while. So Megan says, we knew the hidden floorboard was there because that is where Wes used to hide stuff. That is how Frank knew it was there. Okay, so, but do you think Asher has his own stuff there? Which is very suspicious. And then we should also talk about Bonnie, because Bonnie, she's got a lot of issues, but I think she's kind of a super ruthless person. I mean, I'll never forget when she killed, why is her name escaping me? But when she killed that girl, like in season 1, I was like, because she was the one who killed her, right? Why am I blanking on that? It wasn't Frank, it was her, right? Like in the basement. That was hardcore, and I've never really forgotten that. And like, she's just not afraid to do anything. So, I mean, I guess what I want to know is like, who do you guys think are the suspects for Asher's killers? Because I seriously don't believe it's connected to the Castillos or it was like a hitman, and I don't think it's Frank. So I'm so hoping that we get a great reveal on that. I hope they don't screw that up. It makes me a little bit nervous, but I think the fact that they've mentioned that it's possibly connected to the Castillos or Frank, I think that rules both of those out. What do you guys think about Tegan? Do you think she's someone we can trust? I mean, I've gone back and forth with her the seasons that she's been in the show. I think I've done some videos saying she's probably a killer, and I think I've also done some videos thinking she's a good person, so that's hard. So Alexis says, hi, and hi, Alexis. You'll be upset if Laurel's family killed Asher. They are the cop-out plot hole for everything, like killing Wes. Absolutely. If they go there again, especially after coming back, with these final episodes and mentioning that out the jump, like in this first episode, that's just so lame, like beyond lame. If they hired a hitman or something, that is so stupid. Please make that go away. Scorpio B says we did not need Laurel. I don't think she added much to the show, to be totally honest. Alex believes that Asher has more secrets. I absolutely do. Absolutely. I thought it was crazy, like when his sister got up and like said, oh, they're all murderers, which, they kind of are, but she's kind of crazy too. Hilda says Rebecca. So Rebecca is the person that was killed in the basement. So, man, that was such a shocking moment. I still think season 1 is probably the best season the show has ever done. Like, I was just totally obsessed with this show when it came out, and I felt like season 1 was fantastic. Alex believes that Tegan is trustworthy. Hilda says, Amira, who plays Tegan, went on Instagram Live yesterday saying Tegan will shock us in these final episodes. Thank you so much for that information, because I am here for that. That's really interesting. I'm really interested to find out what exactly that means. Like, personally, I think you guys know, and sometimes people take this the wrong way, I like it when we feel like we can kind of trust someone. They're kind of someone that we don't think would do crazy bad things, and then they come out doing bad things. Sometimes you guys who watch me misinterpret that as I hate this character, so on and so forth. And my example for that is when I used to think that Oliver was shady and I thought he could possibly be, I forgot, somebody's killer in this show, and people took that to mean I hated Oliver. I think Oliver is like a very cool, interesting, fun character, but I think the thing that makes shows so exciting or movies so exciting is when the super cool, super laid back, nice person everyone loves is a freaking killer. That's exciting to me if it has a story to back it up. So I'm hoping that whoever killed Asher is really surprising. Now here's another way to look at this. Megan is thinking that Tegan will die. That could be what she's alluding to. So that's interesting. She's definitely in a lot of hot water because she's tied to the Castillos. Unfortunately, we have to go back to that storyline. She's been doing some dirty work there, and the fact that she helped Laurel, and I don't know if that's going to make her dad upset. Is her dad still alive, right, Jorge? I know he was in jail, and I'm trying to figure out, like, is he still alive? Really, I don't care, but anyway. Megan says, because now people know. Yeah, right. That's what I was just saying. Because people know that Tegan helped Laurel. So could we survive by killing off Tegan? Yeah, probably. I mean, at this point, anyone can die because the show is ending. I do like the fact that the show's creator is saying that it's not going to be a happy ending for everyone. I never imagined that this show would end happily, and I think we've talked about that. If you guys have been coming to my chats for like the last few years, we've always speculated what's going to happen. I know many people have always believed that Annalise was either going to jail for life, or Annalise was going to kill herself, or someone was going to kill Annalise. So I'll throw that out to you guys to see what you think is going to happen with that. But I think you know, it would just be too silly if everyone gets away with everything and everyone that we know now lives. I think that's definitely not happening. I think some people are going to die. And at this point, I don't know if I would be very upset if any of them die, just because I know that we kind of have to go that way. And when they die, it's not going to be that big of a deal just because the show is not going to come back. So we don't have to operate without them. Um, Alex says a quote from Friends, "This is brand new information." Yeah. Hilda wishes there were more episodes. Right. So, I mean, even though the final season was split into two halves, like all the seasons happen, I guess I kind of forgot. Like when I heard last night that we just have 6 episodes total, now we have 5. I was like, oh my God, like this is seriously happening. And sometimes I've struggled with this show. Sometimes I think they've had some seasons that were super boring. I think if you've watched me, you know which ones I thought those were. And sometimes I had to struggle to keep watching. But it's always been like a constant in my life and for probably you guys for like a long time because I've literally been watching it live since it first started. I didn't have to like binge it or anything. So I think it actually is going to be really sad when this show goes away. Like it's going to be pretty weird. Alexis says Oliver or Nate would shock me as the killer. And then we have another comment from Alfonso asking, what are my thoughts on Nate? I've always liked Nate. I really have. I feel really bad what happened with his dad. I like him and I don't want him to be Asher's killer. What would you think would be his motivation for killing Asher? Let's go there. Why would he be the one to kill Asher? Scorpio says, remember, Tegan is Afro-Latino, so that is so what if she's really the half-sister of Laurel's dad and is either really helping them or wants control? Hey, that's interesting. Could be. That would be a pretty cool reveal. So let's see. I'm kind of trying to read more of your guys' comments. I see that like Alex is saying at least all of this has already been filmed. Something that I've definitely been thinking about the past couple of weeks is the fact that, well, first of all, I'm really thankful that this was filmed so like we can actually see it because I feel like in a few months there's going to be like a massive delay on returning seasons of other shows because literally people can't film anything right now and like a delay on movies and everything, which makes me really, really sad. So I think this was already planned to come out at this time, and it's great because I think we're all like looking for things to do and things to watch and new material, and I'm so happy that this is coming out at this time. Hi, show. Thank you so much for being here. Now, Hilda says the only thing is Asher knowing Nate killed Miller, but they all knew. Right. So Alfonso says Asher could inform on Miller's murder. Also, Nate didn't seem surprised when Frank told him Asher died. I guess I'm going to be a little bummed if I find out that Nate killed Asher, but we'll see. Alexis says Nate won't confess to killing Miller and Asher had a recording of it. Okay. That was a tough scene. That was a tough episode in that show when we know that Miller was not a bad guy and he was like beaten to death. It's so terrible. I mean, I can't excuse Nate for doing that, but I also know his mind frame was really messed up because of what happened to his dad, which was also super messed up. So I have like conflicted feelings on all of that. Alex says you could live with Oliver being the killer. He confessed, which could actually be true. So we know that Oliver actually thought he was the killer because he thought it was like blunt force trauma because he did hit him with the, what is that thing called? Poker for the fireplace. Well, there's a better word for it. And he thought, sometimes you can get hit in the head or have a head injury and you're okay and you're like talking to people and then hours later you like die from it. That's like a real legit thing. So he thought that he really did kill Asher, or at least that's what he was playing into last night. Obviously this happened by the person going back and hitting him more. So I personally don't have a good thought on that yet. I don't have my suspect or suspects for Asher's murder yet. I don't have a compelling theory at this point. I need to think about it and see if I can figure it out. But I'm having trouble trying to figure out who did it. I just hope, like I said, that it is worth our time for whoever did it. Colin says, why would Wes come back? You're thinking it's a twin that wouldn't disappoint you once he's not a killer. So I think that whole thing, I'm very conflicted with this whole situation with Wes because, it was shown, his body was shown to us like in the morgue, if you remember. And it's just going to be very silly if they try to say he's still alive. I don't know how they're going to explain that. I also don't love someone having a twin. I think that's kind of a cop out. Many shows have gone there with like, oh yeah, this person died, but they have a twin, whatever. So I actually did a video at the time that that Wes's death was revealed, and I said that he had a twin, which a lot of people have been watching that since that reveal that Wes or someone who looks like Wes is still alive. So people were like, oh my God, how did you figure that out? Well, I don't know. I just found it weird that they were going to take Alfred Enoch off the show. And like the interviews that I saw him do, like on talk shows afterwards, people were like, wow, did you have like another project to work on? Or like, what was the reason for you leaving the show? And he always was like, no, I didn't have something else. It was like the show wanted to do it. And I was just could not figure out because he was pretty much one of the top characters. And I was like, why did they want him to leave the show? And it had to be because they had something planned for down the road. So I think that, I'm hoping that they come up with something better than he actually didn't die, which is the lamest of lame since they showed his body and his face and everything. And he looked 100% dead and he was in the morgue. Or that he has a twin, whatever. How else can we come up with an answer for this? I don't know. Probably nothing is going to satisfy me on that, but I'm hoping that they make sense of that. And we didn't see anything, or there was no talk or no shots or anything of whoever Alfred Enoch is playing now. So we didn't get any information with that. Alex doesn't have a compelling theory for anyone right now. I don't either. I can't explain Wes. I can't explain it two different ways that I just explained it to you, which I don't like and I'm not cool with. I don't like that. I don't know who killed Asher. I don't have a good theory for that. So Alexis says it's Christopher all grown up and Wes is dead. I think you're trying to say that it's like Wes's son. Wes and Laurel's son, but like literally it was the carbon copy of Wes. I don't know if the timelines are gonna match up here, but like it wasn't like he sort of looked like Wes. Like we saw him and he was like freaking Wes. So I don't know. Let's go to some more comments. Mustafa says, why is there a funeral for Annalise if she's back next week? So I thought that the funeral was something like the fact that she went missing. I kind of thought that what they were doing with that is the fact that she went missing and people presumed her dead. But now like she's coming back. I thought that she wasn't actually dead, but now I'm kind of confused. Do you guys have any way to explain what was up with that funeral scene, or is that like a dream sequence? Could it be a dream thing? Could Wes not actually be alive? Because that's where we saw him, right, at the funeral. So could this be some kind of dream or like hallucination or something of one of the characters, but this actually didn't happen? Afonso says Pete has been calling him Wes in interviews. So I guess they're going to try to say that Wes never died, which I'm interested to see how they're going to explain that, because I have a problem with that. And for those of you who watch Pretty Little Liars, you'll understand why I have a problem with that. I just think that they are smarter than that. So, I'm going to keep an open mind, because maybe they have a super good explanation. Maybe they have a great thing to throw at us. I don't know. Alex says your best mates theory is that it was Wes's. Wait, I think there's a typo here and I'm not sure what you're trying to say, but try that comment again, because what it says is like, it's like, your autocorrect change the words or something. Oh no, I know what it says. Your best mate's theory is that it was Wes's son, but you disagree. Yeah, I really don't think that the person that we saw at the end of the first half of the season is Wes's son. Like, literally, nobody looks 100% like their dad. Like, I just don't think there's any, and if they try to come out with that, then, and it just doesn't make sense, like, with the timeline, because Wes's son is like a baby, and what are we trying to say, that Annalise died, like, she looked the same in her photo as she does now, but she died, like, 25 years later. I don't know. And Colin says, deep down, he never will in Annalise's mind. Alexis says, better not be a twin. Pretty Little Liars has ruined you. Alfonso says, you really need to know what happened to Laurel's mom. Oh my God, thank you. I've actually forgotten about that, because I think most of us believed that Laurel killed her. That's kind of what my thoughts were at the time. If you have forgotten, which I've just kind of forgotten about it, was that they put her scalp in the mail. Literally no one's been talking about it, but I guess the characters in their defense would be like, well, someone just murdered Asher and we are in trouble with the FBI and Annalise is missing. So we really can't worry about Laurel's mom because no one liked Laurel's mom anyway. But didn't you all remember when we all thought it was Laurel who killed her mom because her mom was like crazy? So I do think, I hope that that's going to be brought back up again and really needs to be explained because that's going to be a mistake with the show if like they never go back to that. So yeah, there's a lot of loose ends that they're going to have to tie up here in 5 episodes. And I really think that this episode didn't really move us along that much. It was, I don't know why. I was expecting more. It wasn't like it was a bad episode. I think that my mind frame is that we have 6 episodes left of the whole series. We have a lot of things that have to be cleared up, a lot of things that have to be answered. And this was kind of just like a typical episode for them. So I'm wondering, like, I don't know, I felt like it was a little bit slow, and I just have higher expectations for all of these episodes. So I feel like they really need to pick up the pace in next week's episode. Hilda says, any West theory is silly. You like seeing Alfred again, though. You miss him. Yeah, it was good to see him again, and I can't come up with a theory that makes sense and it's going to make everyone happy. I'm not really sure that the show can. So that concerns me. I mean, I think that it was a huge surprise when we saw him at the end of the season. I was really shocked and very surprised by that. But at this point, trying to explain why we saw him is a problem for me, and it may become an issue with me not liking how they wrap up the show. That's going to be a real big problem. That would be number 1 problem for me. Number 2, how are they going to explain Asher's death? Are they going to do something stupid with that? Are they going to say it was a freaking hitman or something? I mean, a little bit concerned about that too. I mean, I think a lot of times, the show does things correctly, but unfortunately there have been some instances where they don't do things correctly. So I don't have 100. There's a very few shows that I have like 100% confidence in they're going to handle everything correctly. They're going to do the murderers, the killer reveals correctly. They're going to wrap up the show correctly. But this one, I'm a little bit nervous. And I don't know if you guys think the way that I do, but I'm not real sure if they're going to be able to wrap up this whole series and make it good for us. And by good, I don't mean that everyone lives and everyone's happy and nobody goes to jail. I'm just wanting it to make sense. I want it to be kind of believable. This is not a science fiction show. This is real life. It's obviously quite out there with all the murders and stuff like that, but they need to make it make some sense. And if we're going to say that Wes never died, I'm feeling like we're science fiction here. All right, I'm going to go back to the comments. Alex says, I was right about the typo. Yeah, I had trouble reading it and finally I figured it out. Colin says you have a theory about it and you read online Tegan is hiding Laurel and Christopher and her mother in Mexico. So, that's interesting. I don't have a problem with the fact that Tegan helped hide them, but I'm trying to figure out what else is going on with that. Hilda says a few months ago there was footage of Alfred filming of where Middleton University is set. So what's Wes doing there? We'll see. Megan says, what if Wes is in the witness protection program and has even helped to take down Annalise? Definitely could be, because he was, right before he died, he was basically being an informant for the FBI and like giving them all kinds of information. Megan says maybe the government helped to create a body to make him actually seem dead. I would have a problem with that still. What really bothered me is that they showed us the body. If they never had shown us, I might be able to buy into it, but still found it kind of lame. But why show us his body? Why show us, right? They showed us, right? But then they said it disappeared or something. So I guess by them saying like it disappeared, that's the way that he lived. But don't show us. Please don't show us that. And then say, you know what? He actually didn't die. Okay, he actually didn't die. Like, so what did we see? He was like on a ton of sleeping pills. Like, what did we see there? I don't know. Afonso says, Pete says in the next episode, we will get the reason why the FBI and the Castillos came so hard for Annalise. So, or they're after her big time. So that's interesting. Hilda says, what if it was Asher's sister? His family never cared for him that much anyways. Hey, I actually kind of like that. I actually do. I thought it was interesting that for some reason when she spoke out in the episode, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, why did they include that? Like, why is that important? Actually really like that. I would be totally down for that. She seems kind of crazy, her and the mom. I I don't know what really the motivation would be. Like, what is the motive for that? I'm not really sure because he was actually kind of doing things that I feel like his family would be happy with. He was trying to turn in all the bad people that corrupted him. So I don't know. Alex says we saw his half-burnt body. Yeah, I mean, I'm really struggling with what they're doing with Wes. I'm really struggling. I mean, the twin makes more sense to me than the fact that he's still alive, and I don't like either of those scenarios. So I'm having this feeling that I'm not going to be happy with whatever is going on with Wes, and that really upsets me because he was such a huge part of the story, and how they handle what they're doing with him is really going to affect the whole show. And if they screw that up and come up with something crazy, for me, it's going to be hard to be like, yeah, I liked how it ended because it's just. I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, that whole thing with Wes really bothers me. Alex also, so a lot of you guys are agreeing here with Hilda, like thinking maybe the sister had something to do with Asher. I mean, I never had thought of that, and I really like it. I just don't understand. My only issue with that is what is her motivation? Like, especially since he was kind of on the right side of the law now, and he was like turning people in and whatever. Like, why kill him? Hilda says maybe his family was jealous of his new family. And I could buy into that too, but it's like he's like he was like turning everyone in. He was doing what like his mom and sister wanted him to do. So Afonso said people in Reddit are theorizing Connor's mom killed Asher since she was acting erratic. I'm down for any like crazy reveal on that. I don't know what her motivation would be. So I just feel like both of these are interesting. I just can't connect either one of those people with like, why are you going to kill someone? And I also think you have to take into account that whoever killed him must have known what had happened before with that. What is the word for that? That thing that you poke the wood with. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they had to know that was going on because they framed Connor and Michaela with that murder weapon. So they had to have some kind of knowledge of that, whether it was like a camera or like they were listening or they were actually there. I don't know. Kind of thinking that they had to be in on that. You have to think about that because they framed them for the murder with the same weapon. Toby says Wes is still alive. The body that was shown was not existent considering the body was cremated or most likely wasn't there to produce in the first place. But we did see his body, right? Don't I remember that correctly? That we saw his face and everything like in the morgue. So I'm just confused if they wanted to go down the route of, hey, he never died. They, kind of protected themselves by saying like they lost his body or it's cremated. But like, I think they said they lost his body. But why show it, Toby says the dead body was not confirmed by any of the core cast except for Nate, but who knows if Nate is in on Wes's disappearance. But didn't the audience see his body, though? Like, I don't have any problem with, like, people talking about seeing the body, and maybe we could find out they were lying, or the fact that the body disappeared, but, like, we saw it, right? Afonso says the killer has to have hacked their cameras to know about the poker. Yes, poker and everything. So, right, either they are watching what's going on, they're listening somehow, or they were in the room. And we know who was in the room. So, it's not likely it was one of those people. Toby says Connor most likely knows more than he has let on, or he's not aware of what was going on. So, we saw him have like a full-blown panic attack, which I think the police were kind of thinking was faked. Now, I don't know if that was, for effect. Was it for sympathy? Was it for because he's doing more bad stuff than we know? Was it a distraction? He tried to get himself sent to the hospital, but they said no. Megan says, what if Asher killed himself? He could not get anyone to say anything incriminating on tape, and they had that all figured out that he was the mole. Okay, not a bad thought. I don't know if they've done an autopsy on his body, and maybe they haven't yet. If they do perform an autopsy, I think they would be able to figure that out, unless they think that the blow to the head from Oliver was, if they want to blame that on the way he was murdered. I mean, do you think he kept beating himself with the poker? Or I don't know. BC says, how are things going to end up between Annalise and the governor? So we still have that ongoing feud with a very shady governor. What's going to happen with that? How much stuff has the governor done? Like, how much bad stuff has the governor done that we don't know? That's another loose end that they're going to need to tie up. William says the only way you see the two things playing out to a way you would like is if the twin died and Wes was still alive the whole time. To me, that makes sense. I don't love it, but it makes so much more sense than going the route of saying they showed us the body, but hey, guess what, guys? He never actually died. I don't know how we get around that. So Alex is saying that you can buy that Asher committed suicide. If he did he bludgeon himself with the poker? I think all of these things that we're kind of talking about here is like, I don't know. I feel like we're not totally there with everything, but that's not a bad theory. I don't dislike it, or he could just have had that. Here's my thing. Like, how did the poker get with Asher? He didn't take it with him when he left, right? Or did he? Did he take it with him knowing he was going to kill himself and he was trying to frame them? Is that what happened here? Or, we always are thinking that someone took the poker from the scene and then continued beating him so it would frame Michaela and Connor. And Oliver, I guess. But Oliver had on gloves, so. Toby says, but without an official ID, it's mostly the scene with Wes's body is the show playing with our perspective, which sucks. And it does seem like they're going to go the route of he never died and it's going to kill it for me. Like, it's really going to bother me with the show. It's really going to affect my thoughts about the whole series finale. It's really not acceptable to me. I'm going to keep an open mind, though. I'm going to wait and see what they say. But I will say that I'm very worried how they're going to explain that situation. I almost wish they didn't bring him back. I wish we just put that away. Why do we need to bring it? Like, I guess it was planned all the time, all along, but it's, to me, it's detrimental to the show, in my opinion. Alfonso says it's impossible to introduce a twin. We saw 10-year-old Wes with his mother. She always mentioned one son. I don't think it's impossible to have a twin. It could have been a situation where so many different ways to explain that if they wanted to. She could have had 2 babies and can only afford one, so someone adopted the twin. We know she didn't have a lot of money. She could have been pregnant with 2 babies and thought she was only having one and someone stole the other. Could have had 2 babies and thought one died, someone stole the other. I think there's a lot of ways. We just saw a few flashbacks from the mom. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways they could explain that to me better than they can explain Wes never died. Alexa said that the killer is definitely a B character. They wouldn't make the core kill Asher. So that's one way to look at it. Is it one of the B players, which would be someone like Tegan or who are like our background, Asher's sister, Asher's mom. Hilda says Viola did an IG live with Variety. Obviously, yes, everyone is doing IG live. Like, every time I get an Instagram, I'm getting all these notifications, like, so-and-so's live, so-and-so's live, so-and-so's live. Like, because, yeah, everyone's stuck at home, so people want to do online stuff, because they know people are watching it. Anyway, saying there were times that Pete would tell her stuff and she'd be speechless. Viola is the best, and she's, I don't know if that's supposed to be funny or not. To me, it's kind of funny, but I think if I were her, and they tried to say, we're going to kill off Wes, but we're really not going to kill him, and we're going to bring him back, but we're going to show the body. I would have some problems with that. I would be like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Please don't do that. Toby says, remember, Wes didn't have any family. He was a product of rape. Him having his current life to save the rest, leaving his current life to save the rest, given his guilt of Sam was enough for him to disappear. You think it's genius. So yeah, so maybe some of you enjoy that storyline if it turns out that Wes actually never died, and we'll see how they handle that. I don't like it. I still don't like it, and I'm sorry, but I respect anyone who was cool with that, honestly. Alfonso says there was a weird focus on the tea Bonnie gave Asher. Could she have poisoned him or at least drugged him? Ooh, now I didn't catch that. I didn't catch it in the way that you did. That's interesting. Like I said earlier, don't really trust Bonnie. She was like in love with with Asher, right? So is she gonna do that? Is she gonna do that? I would like that. Let's go there, because the fact that she had a relationship with him and everything, let's do that. I love that. I think that's a great twist. Megan says Asher never fit in with the group, so you guess that's why you feel like he was trying to frame his friends, since he can't seem to frame them any other way. Maybe he goes back for the poker. Okay, so maybe, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. Maybe he went back for the poker thinking, I don't know, and then killed himself in another way and left that there because he knew they would go down for it. Toby says that it's Oliver. Oliver, he says, killed Asher. He let him out of the house because Oliver's the other mole. That's why he pushed on Connor marrying him. Well, I will say this, that I have done a couple videos on Oliver being a bad guy. They were received terribly. We talked about that a little bit earlier in this live chat. People were threatening me and so on and so forth and saying that I disliked, what's his name, Conrad in real life. No, I don't dislike him. Don't dislike Oliver. But I'm down for that if we want to go there. He's too nice, guys, you know? I mean, maybe we're going to end with him being too nice, but when you're watching a horror movie or horror show, who do you look at? The least likely. And no one would ever think Oliver would kill someone. He's the sweetest, right? So surprise me. Let's do that. Let's go somewhere crazy with who killed Asher, you know? Megan says, however, you forgot that the house camera footage was swiped, so that makes you think someone else did it. So, I mean, I think it's pretty likely that I think it's seemingly likely that someone was watching what was going on there with the mushrooms and all that and saw the incident with the poker and saw their chance to frame Connor and Michaela. Oh, I just had a thought. What do you guys think? What if it was Michaela's dad who killed Asher? And what do you guys think about that? Because he's shady. He was super shady last night. He wanted her to take that plea deal like so bad. But what if it was a way to, I don't know if it was his way to pay back Annalise for something. I'm not really sure what his motivation would be, but have you had any thoughts about maybe he was the one who killed Asher? What do you guys think? Colin says, could Annalise have killed Asher, as she said to the driver to make a stop? Maybe. I don't really think they're going to have her be a killer because she has never been a killer for this long, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, Alfonso says Annalise finally killing someone would make you sad. I kind of feel weird about that. I feel weird to have her, like, kind of like her signature thing is, like, she's never killed any of these people. But they were going to all of a sudden throw her in to kill Asher. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Hilda says Michaela's dad killing Asher would be good. I just need to connect the dots on that. But I found him super, super, super shady in last night's episode. Super persuasive with Michaela about taking that plea deal. I don't know. What do you guys think about his motivation? Like, what would be the reason? I mean, obviously, with his conversation near the end there, he was wanting to take down Annalise. And again, we don't know the background between him and Annalise. Something went down, something not good went down. So I don't know if he's looking to either she's got dirt on him and he needs her to go away, or he's paying her back for something. Leo's wondering if Michaela's dad sold out her location to the FBI. It did appear to me that they were trying to lead us to believe that Michaela's dad knew that Annalise was in Mexico. Now, maybe he was part of the people that were trying to help her or something. I don't know. I just feel like she felt like she couldn't trust those people that were trying to help her escape. So maybe she realized they were crooked or whatever, and I don't know. And she ended up getting arrested anyway, but we'll have to see how that plays out. I just don't have a total explanation for the motivation of why he killed Asher, but I'm thinking we could have something there. Hilda says it would destroy Michaela. It would, and it's sad because she's had so many problems with people that she just can't trust in her life. So many problems. But I feel like, he's kind of a new person in her life. She didn't even know this man existed. I guess she can get over it. That's terrible. I don't know. Again, it's not going to end happily for everyone. So we're not going to have everyone having great thoughts and no one else dying and everyone not going to jail, Alfonso says you think the only person we haven't named as Asher's killer is Laurel. Don't see it being Laurel. Hope it's not. Yeah, we're kind of just experimenting with who it could be, It's Me says you agree that Michaela's dad seems so shady. Maybe it's an old beef with Annalise. So, if he did kill Asher, I'm not sure that he did it because he had a specific beef with Asher, but maybe to facilitate taking down Annalise or whatever. I feel like it was kind of like he was a pawn in the bigger picture. So, I don't know. Just don't trust the guy. Never have. Don't really think that he really cares that much about Michaela. Find it artificial. I think she kind of felt like it was too at first, and like the first half of the season. It's Me's wondering if Michaela's dad's working with Laurel's dad. we don't know much about this guy, so I don't know. Toby says Asher's inclination to save his mom and sister after finding out Annalise was the reason the stuff about the David Allen case and rape cover-up was released was an example of his outsider status. Yeah, I mean, Asher was trying to take everybody down. So the problem is he was also, you have to think about it this way. Whoever killed Asher was trying to frame, Michaela and Connor. So would it be someone that was really close with them? Like, seriously? Like, because they were supposed to go down for that murder. It makes me definitely think, like someone else said earlier, that it's an outside player instead of being, I kind of want Oliver to be bad, but I'm not sure if they're going to go there. Leo says, in your gut, you feel that Annalise allowed herself to be caught. She has a plan. Definitely felt that way. I definitely felt like it was on purpose. She seemed pretty cool, collected about it. Didn't seem super shocked to be getting arrested. So she always has a plan. We'll have to see if it works this time. Hilda says, you think Annalise was tired of running. They were just going to keep going after her. It was only so much hiding she could do. I think she has some sort of a plan, but, always in the past, she's gotten away with murder or like the conspiracy to commit murder. So is she going to get away with it this time now that this is going to be over? I don't know. Alfonso says, in past seasons, we always counted on Annalise having a plan, but this time it won't happen. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. Because I don't think, especially with Pete saying everyone's not going to have a happy ending, I think it would be really ridiculous if Annalise is like freed from everything and go live on an island or whatever, or just can live as herself. I don't see it happening. Maybe it will. I don't know. We'll have to see. But actually, it's been interesting having this conversation with you guys because it's making me think, and it always does, and that's why I do these. It's making me like think about all the different possibilities. Like, Michaela's dad, I hadn't even thought about that, watching last night. That stuck out to me, like how shady her dad was. And also what stuck out to me was Asher's sister's outburst seemed a little weird, seemed a little out there. Not sure why they focused on it. Toby says that you agree with me. Oliver has been sketchy since season 3 when he insisted on working closer with Annalise and broke up with Connor. Yeah, I've always had my doubts about him. Not really sure they'll go there with him and make him a bad person, but I would be here for that. So if they want to do it, let's go. I'm like I said, I'm really hoping that the reveal for Connor, or for, I'm going to call him Connor like every time. The reveal for Asher's death is worth our time. Asher's been in the show since the first episode. We've had him in the show for all these years. That was a big murder. That was good. That was a good surprise at the end of the first half of the finale, or the final season. So don't give us a crappy explanation for that, please. Please do not make the killer someone super random, super down the line, super like a Z character on the show. Don't make it a hitman, make it worth our time. And there's a few people they could go with that I think would make it worth our time. I think having Michaela's dad, even though he's a new character and not huge or anything, I think I could get behind that, honestly. Toby says, after breaking up with Connor, Oliver was still working with Annalise's class. Do I remember when Simon said to Oliver, you can penetrate him, but you still can't penetrate the inner circle? Yeah, so I guess, in a way, Oliver's been a little bit of an outcast. He's not part of the Keating 4 or 5 or whatever we want to say now, I guess, since Wes didn't die. I don't know if he has any bad feelings towards the others. He never came across that way, but maybe he had some resentment. Like maybe he wanted to be part of the group and he felt like he was never part of the group. I don't know. They could do stuff with his character to make it more believable about him being sinister if they wanted to. Don't know if they will, Any other theories that you guys want to discuss before I end the chat today? Like any other things that we need to talk about that we haven't, or any theories that you guys have or thoughts that you guys have that haven't been brought up yet? This has been super fun. Just want to let you guys know that I plan on doing live chats on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern for How to Get Away with Murder for the next 5 episodes. So maybe we could also do a couple of other like special things the week leading up to the very final episode, since it is the final episode of all time. But if there's anything else you want to see from me with this show as we're ending it, let me know. Also, if you don't follow me on Twitter, it's Kelly_TV, and I always will be telling you like, hey, a live chat's coming up. I really don't live tweet during the show just because when I've tried to do that before, I get so concerned about what I'm tweeting you guys that I miss things, because some things in shows you actually have to be looking at. You can't just be listening, like, you know, when he was looking through the floorboard or whatever. So I try to keep my attention on the show, but I do like to watch live so that I don't get spoiled like on Twitter or whatever, because it's happened before with other shows. Hilda says, what if it's that love interest Robert? You'll be upset if he was shady because you liked him as a male friend for Annalise, but him not being present was interesting. So I think we met Robert like in the final season, the first half. I really haven't thought anything at all about him in a really long time. So I don't know if, I don't know. I mean, they've kind of dropped him, so I don't know if there's anything more to him. I remember thinking that he could be a little bit shady, but I wasn't totally sure. I wasn't sold on the fact that he was. So, I don't know. It would be interesting, maybe. I think that's kind of a stretch. I would probably not be happy if he killed Asher. I would really need like a great explanation behind that, because, I mean, what's the connection here? Toby said Asher had more of a justification for being a mole, and you can see during the season 9 finale when Asher said, think what would Annalise do given the Snow White case from the class. And then you're going on to talk about Oliver here in a minute. So I'm not surprised that Asher is the mole, and we knew that, I guess, at the end of the first half of this season. And I think he felt really pressured by his mom and sister too. They went kind of insane. Like basically, I guess I can't remember who killed his dad, but they blame Annalise or something for that. I don't know why. I cannot remember who was behind. Oh, his dad killed himself, right? But there was corruption with his dad. Toby says Oliver. The question from Alex. Hold on a second. Toby says Oliver had the idea to get high. You're pretty sure he wasn't high. Right, the mushrooms. There were some questions about did he really take it? But he knew Asher was the mole because Oliver is also working with the feds. Alex wants to know if I have a boyfriend. Yes. Toby says that's why Oliver hit Asher just as he was about to reveal everything. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Oliver was weird and kind of suspicious in that scene. And he's been suspicious before. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. I would so support that. I would be happy with that. I just don't know. Afonso says the weird thing is that Laurel's brother revealed the mole in episode 5, but Asher only became a mole in episode 6. So it's either an error or there's a second one. Continuity error. Had to think a minute about how to say that. So yeah, there's a lot to think about. Hopefully I've given you guys some more to think about. But if you are watching this after it was live, yeah, please share your theories with me. I'm checking my comments a lot now because what else do we have to do? But I like reading your guys' comments. So, please comment if you weren't able to come to the chat, or if you were able to come to the chat and you have additional thoughts after we're done. Let me know your theories. Let me know what you think about Michaela's dad. What do you think about Oliver? What do you think about what we've been talking about in this chat? What do you think is going to happen with Annalise? Who do you think killed Asher? Lots of questions. Not a lot of information was presented in this episode, so we're not really sure where this is going to go. But thank you guys so much for coming to the chat. There were so many of you here. I really appreciate it. And I think I got to most of your guys' questions. But I hope everyone's doing okay. I assume everyone is quarantining still. I have no idea how long this is going to go on. I'm really thankful that this show is back and we have like an outlet and we can come on here and talk about it and have some positive thoughts, even though the show is kind of negative and about murders. You know, it's fun to do this as a distraction from what's going on. So I'm really glad that we're able to do that. So thank you again for coming. If I missed your question, feel free to comment it when the video uploads to my channel in like 30 minutes and I will respond. I look forward to all of your comments. I look forward to talking to you for the next 5 weeks about this show as it ends, which is sad, but you know, at least we get to watch it together. So bye guys.